Good morning. It's a little before 8 a.m. Slightly overcast Sunday morning in the woods. I am out on a 10-mile hike, testing out a new pack. And I figured it'd be a good time to recap my experience with the Allegheny 100. But first, let's talk about my new pack. So after that marathon ruck, I realized that though it's unlikely I'm going to be carrying a considerable amount of weight on backpacking trips, in the event that I need to, I should have a pack that had better load carrying capacity. So I picked up the Durston Kakwa 40, which is what we're using today. I have my weighted vest in the back, water and some other items. Pack's about 30 pounds. And we're seeing how it feels. Right now I got it cinched pretty good on my hips. Load lifters are an excellent addition. It feels comfortable. Moving 3.3, cruising along in zone 1. It is super humid this morning though, so I imagine that will catch up over time. But today's only 10.5 miles. Just to see how it feels, break it in, see what we get. So what happened with the Allegheny 100? Well, if you watched the earlier video, my intention was to do the 100-mile hike. Originally I had planned to hike 25 on the first day, sleep for maybe 3 to 4 hours, do a big day on Saturday, 50 miles, sleep for another 3 to 4 hours, and then finish off with 25 miles on the last day. That was plan number 1. Plan number 2 was this idea that I might do 4 25-mile cycles, meaning hike for 8-ish hours, push pace, get to 25, and then sleep for 4 hours. That would be 12 hours. If I could do that in exactly 4 cycles, that would be 48 hours. That would be 100 miles. That would get me under the 50-minute time cap. That seemed a little too ambitious and a little risky, being the first time doing it and going that far. So I reverted back to the original plan. 25, 50, 25. I got to the parking lot before the event, and there was a couple other people there who I'd recognized from previous videos, believe it or not, that were doing the 100. And I was asking them different questions about their approach, their pacing, their nutrition, their sleeping, all that. Drawing from that conversation, I pretty much convinced myself that the new plan would be to push the 100 miles and not sleep at night like I had planned to, and just sleep during the day when it's warmer. You don't need as much gear. Not that I was carrying a lot of gear, but anyway, that was the plan of record by the time I got on the bus. Got to the start area. You could feel like the excitement. Everybody's all nervous. Sign in, do the spiel. This year they were giving out beanie hats. I didn't want a beanie hat. Would have been fine with a cheap t-shirt, but that's fine. So they did the spiel and then they sent us all off. And I was expecting it to be really thick and heavy traffic in the beginning. And it was single file for a little while, but everybody was moving pretty well. At some points I was almost 4 miles an hour just walking, so it was definitely cruisy in the beginning. And then as we got moving, it started to thin out. So I think my first 5K there was, 50 something. I don't remember exactly. I'd have to look it up. But it was quick. And what I had done was set my watch for 10-mile increments. So every 10 miles I'd stop, or around 10 miles, for a water source, refilter, just kind of reset for a little bit, take a short little break, and then just keep going through the night until, maybe the next morning got to the point where I need to take a nap or something. So about 10 miles in, I met up with this guy Chris, who's a serious hiker, and tried to hang with him for a little while. And we were moving really well, passing quite a few people, and then the sky just kind of opened up and started pouring. We split up, and it just kind of poured. I don't know if it was 30 minutes or 2 hours. It just felt like it was forever. So that was kind of like the beginning of the night. Kind of rained on and off through the night, but that was the heaviest at that point. So from there, I guess, it's funny how these things happen, right? You tend to separate for a while, and then you cluster up again with different people, separate, maybe catch up with them again, or they catch up with you. And I saw a little bit of that through the night. But eventually I got to the point where I made the decision to just do the full hike to the halfway point, call it a day. Mainly because I pushed myself through the night, and I realized I don't like night hiking. It's not really enjoyable for me. I would rather be sleeping at night like most normal people. But it was a challenge, so okay, fine. But through the course of that, there was a lot of blowdown in some sections. Two of the bridges were completely destroyed. One was gone entirely. So we had to kind of go through Minister Creek, just basically like maybe knee deep. It wasn't anything ridiculous. But because it was just so wet all week, and then it also poured for whatever that period of time was, the trail was basically just a river. There was a 2-mile descent down to Minister Creek that was just puddles and puddles of water. So all of that's fine. I mean, I wore my Olympus. They drained well enough. Ultimately, I decided the 50-mile mark would be kind of like my redemption for the ultra marathon. Wanted to know if I could do 50 miles in one go, so that became my new goal. And the goal was to reach the halfway point before 16 hours, which we did. I picked up this guy Sean at Minister Creek, and we kind of hiked the last 15 miles or something together. Yeah, so it was at Minister Creek where I kind of lost the trail for a little bit. I was hiking on my own at that point, and so I could see a headlamp in the distance. So I figured, you know what? Maybe I'll just wait. It's like maybe a minute and a half, whatever it was. And this guy Sean pops out of the woods. Just kind of asked him a few questions. He'd done it before. We agreed that this was probably where the bridge was. So we said, all right, well, let's do it together. And we went across separately, but it was nice to have someone there, 3 a.m. in the dark. And we kind of hiked all the way to the end together. It was fun to have someone to talk to, chit-chat about a number of different things. And, that was kind of my plan. At that point was the Redemption 50-miler. And we got to the 50-mile point, which, by the way, was 48 miles, unfortunately for me. But I wasn't about to do 2 more miles, just on principle. So that was it. Reached it. 15 hours and, 30 minutes or somewhere around there. No, maybe it was a little bit less, because I looked at my pace, and had I had to do an extra 2 miles, I still would have probably made it in just by a hair under 16 hours. So I took that as a win, and that was that. So if you're wondering if I would ever do it again, the answer is no. Not because it wasn't fun or challenging, but that type of challenge is just not my thing. Maybe doing it as a 100-mile ultra might be more interesting, but again, because it's self-supported, you have to kind of carry everything. All in with water, camera, batteries, gear, 3 days worth of food. I think I might have been at 16, 17 pounds or something in the pack, so it wasn't heavy. But if I wanted to run it, I'd have to change that plan entirely. If you're wondering if you should do it, if you want to see what night hiking is like through, I would say, average East Coast conditions, meaning steep climbs, some longer than others, but generally you're dealing with very steep elevation changes in short distances. But the Allegheny is notoriously wet that time of year, so certainly be prepared. I would strongly encourage a good waterproofing method for your gear, of course, but more importantly, shoes that drain very well. I wore a pair of Injinjis and some compression socks over that. Loosened up my shoes so that they could breathe a little bit more. They didn't feel so restricted with 2 pairs of socks on. And overall, my feet felt great. Because of all the water, eventually I could feel a blister on the pad of my right foot. And I didn't notice the one on my left toe until I was done, but that really wasn't too bad. Had I continued on, I'm sure that blister would have gotten worse, but I would have probably done some care and maintenance at the 50-mile mark, or rather the halfway mark. And that would have been it. So I don't think I would do it again. It was an interesting challenge, but that's that. 10K into a 10-mile hike. First 5K was about 57 and change. Second one just now was 56 and change. It's a pretty consistent pace. What I've noticed so far about the Durston is I do have to make some minor tweaks to it, as one would expect, because it's the first official break-in. I will say though, my shorts are not holding up to the task. These Outdoor Vital shorts are super light, but I tied the waistband what I thought would be tight enough, but between the pack moving, me moving, and the shorts, they keep falling down. I don't know if these are the ideal shorts for East Coast hiking. Probably do really well in arid climate, low humidity, drier hiking. So I'll go back to the path projects. They seem to be the best I have. But back to the pack. The nice thing about having the water bottle holder as low as it is compared to, say, my Zerk 40 or my Zerk 25 is I can reach it. I don't have to like contort my arm so far behind me that I can't actually use it. With the Durston I can. And what's nice is I've got 2 bottles back there. One is electrolytes, the other is just water. And it's easier for me to put the bottle back in the further back position. So as a consequence of that, the bottles keep rotating for me. So I wind up alternating water and electrolytes, which is a happy accident. The load lifters and the hip belt feel really good. I don't feel anything on my shoulders. Now granted, I'm only 6 miles in. Probably should do a full marathon with the loaded pack again and see. compared to one to the other. But right now, very happy. Pack feels good. It's comfortable, and it's carrying the weight well. Things are accessible without taking the pack off, which is what I wanted. And the added storage on the hip belts is really nice. I'm not using it so much today other than for the camera, but it gives me plenty of room to put snacks or other things I might need throughout the day. Because the side pocket holds those 2 water bottles, I've got these 2 pouches up front that are completely free and empty now. Okay, third 5K, 56:50. Just cruising along today. This feels really good. It has started to rain, a little bit of a thunderstorm, but it's not like soaking rain yet. And I'm almost done anyway, so didn't even bother to bring the raincoat because the weather said 0% chance of rain. Figured we might get something because it was just so dark, but I'm not upset. So anyway, final thoughts on first impressions. That sounds funny. The Durston 40 feels really good. I've had to make some minor adjustments here and there as the weight's kind of settled. I find what feels comfortable for me. I will say putting the weighted vest in the back has created kind of this low hanging part to the back of the pack that I think might have been what was contributing to me losing my shorts, literally. So I may have to think of a better weight distribution system for training hikes. But overall, very happy with the pack. Water bottles, super easy to get. And side pockets, super convenient. The hip belt, very comfortable. Having the weight sit on my hips does feel different, but not in a bad way. And other than that, very happy with the pack, the first trip. Let's get back to parking lot. Maybe get out of this rain. Alright, last check-in. 10 miles, 3 hours, 3 minutes, and some odd seconds. Really want to see if I can get this loop down to 3 hours or less with a loaded pack. But other than that, next week I am going to be up in the Adirondacks, and I'm praying for good weather so I can get some hiking done while I'm up there. So I'll see you then.